Hi, everybody. Sorry, we're a little bit late here. 1 minute. All right, we're recording. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh, hi, Ed. I see Ed's in the chat. Okay. So, aloha, Pam Allen. Yes, we're known by Pam Allen. And just funny enough, Alan used to call us Pam Allen. I think he must have known what he was doing back then. And he says, if not then, he does now. He knows what he's doing now. So we're gonna kind of start a little bit with our story, because we have some people that haven't joined us before, and that's what Alan wanted to do. Let me just see. I want to be sure everybody's muted. If you're not, could you mute yourself? We'll have a chance to unmute later, and of course we're going to call on people who want to have readings. But first, we're going to kind of explain like our backstory just briefly. I'm really going to try to keep it brief because it's kind of long, but you know, he says let's keep it to what's most important. So the main thing that he and I want to say is that we've been on a spiritual path for 34 years. So this is not something new. And actually, once he passed away, that's when I finally understood why I had to go through what I went through, and why we had the relationship we had, and just like why I had struggled to figure out what I was here to do, because some part of me knew it had to do with Alan, but it wasn't showing up in our life for 30 years until he died, but didn't die, and came back to say, yes, we're not done. We were brought together to do this, like what we're doing now. And I was not expecting that. You know, I was just floored, really. If it wasn't for other people who were psychic mediums themselves, who told me that he was right, this is what they got to, and they were able to talk to him also, and they were able to enlighten me as to who Alan really was, that I always knew somehow that there was something special about him. And I'm not saying, you know, he's special and nobody else is special. I'm just saying I knew there was something different about him, and I was frustrated, like why that didn't come out when he was in a body, like why he didn't fulfill his full potential. So I was able to understand that once he crossed, and he explained to me that the life we had together was kind of a vacation to prepare him for what he's doing right now. And when that was told to me, a lot of things made sense, like why he really didn't want to put all his energy into doing readings. He did them, traveled the world, Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, the US, of course, England. He was from England. And he did all that, and he did his spiritual work in that way. But then when he married me and moved to Hawaii, he just kind of quit that. After 5 years, he stopped traveling. And he definitely wasn't interested in teaching, although he did some of that later before he passed. But he just wasn't, hold on, I'm just trying to adjust my screen. He just wasn't really trying to build his practice like most intuitives would do, most healers would do, right? You want to make an impact. Excuse me. You want to do the work you're here to do. And he wasn't really doing that. So I didn't understand it. And now I know he was waiting for this. So he passed when he turned 83. He passed away on his birthday. He did that to prove that he chose that date. Literally chose that date. He even chose to pass away in the evening like almost like the latest he could leave his body so that he would be pronounced dead on his birthday. He died at like 8:30 or something at night. And if he had passed a little bit later, they may not have come to pronounce him dead because he was under care with hospice. So they don't come right away. So you call them and they come maybe a couple hours later. And they did come around 10:30. So he knew what he was doing. He was exiting, and he was already out of his body toward the end, like a lot of people are. But in his case, as soon as he crossed over, I'd say the next day, he started coming through to me directly and to other people, saying that we weren't done, that we had a soul contract to do the work we're doing right now, but that we began doing almost literally from the time he came back. I mean, literally, because he started waking me up in the middle of the night or early morning and asking me to write. So I'd write and write and write. And like I would get maybe 3 hours sleep if I was lucky, but I had energy. And I wasn't really grieving for the first month, which was kind of weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was sad, but the weight of the grief, it's like it was held back because his energy, his excitement was so strong. He just lifted me and carried me for about a month, maybe 6 weeks. And then slowly it kind of had to come through because he told me I had to go through the grieving process. But initially, it was he's saying it was his love and his excitement that just raised me up, and I was just astonished. So I began sharing our story before he passed away. I was sharing it on my personal page because I knew he wanted me to. He was already at the late stages of dementia, so he couldn't really talk to me, but I could feel that he wanted me to share his life, like share photos from our travels and just share our wedding pictures and just share everything. Like I could just tell he wanted that. And I knew that even if he had dementia and he was at a care home, that he could see that he would know what I was doing. So I was doing that, just pouring out my heart, like sharing these photos, talking about how our lives were together. And people became fascinated by it, apparently, because at the end of that, when he passed away, I started sharing that he was showing up, that he was communicating with me, that he was talking to other people, talking to me, sending me love that would just overwhelm me with emotion. And I felt compelled to write. And he says that was both me and him. Like, in other words, it wasn't just I felt compelled to write. It was like he wanted me to write. So we were writing together, and I couldn't stop. I felt like I had to share everything. And from the very beginning, I decided I was just going to share it all, like be completely vulnerable, say, here it is on a good day. Here I am on a bad day. Here it is when I'm totally confused. Here it is when I think I figured it out. Here it is when Alan's done this or that or the other, and certainly here is what he's telling me to write or what's happened. So I was probably posting, I think at least 2, sometimes 3 times a day. And it's very soon after he passed. Oh, he's telling me it was a week after he passed away. He said, please form a Facebook group. And I laughed because Alan didn't like Facebook. He didn't even know how to find Facebook when he was in a body. He was like, he would get frustrated, like, I can't figure out this Facebook thing. And here he wanted me to form a Facebook group. And I said, well, why? And he said, because I want you to keep sharing our story, but I want it to be in a private group so people feel like they can share and get to know each other, which you can't do on a personal page. So I said, oh, all right. Okay. And I was, to my amazement, about close to 15 people just automatically jumped into that group. And many of them told me that they were just fascinated by the story. They wanted to see how it, what was going to happen next. And a few people reached out to me personally and said, I only come on Facebook to see what you've written. I find it so inspiring and amazing and beautiful. And I said, oh, well, that touched my heart. And And Alan just kept saying, keep sharing, just keep sharing. So I kept writing. I couldn't not write. And so that grew to, I have lost count how many posts I've written. It's got to be at this point close to 200. Last time I checked, it was like 140, and that was months ago. I mean, a long time ago. So I really don't know. But all the posts that were in the group are now going to be passed on to the publisher we've hired. We have invested in publishing our story. Alan was one of the first things he told me when he came back. He said, we're going to write a book. And I said, what? Nothing's happened yet. He said, well, something is going to happen. You're going to write a book about our story, and you're going to call it Supernatural Love. And he wanted me to build a website with that domain. And I said, well, that URL, Supernatural Love, that can't possibly be available. And he said, well, go look. So I checked, and it was available, to my, again, like astonishment. What? It's available? I mean, it cost a bit of money because it's kind of a premium, domain, but it was available. And he said, just buy it right now, just buy it. And he knew it was there. So we have that. We're revamping our website. We're going to use that book title, that domain. And then the week after he passed, we did create a Facebook group. 3 weeks after he passed, he asked me to do readings with him. And he knew I didn't like to do readings because I'm more of a healer or a counselor. Well, I'll use my intuition and I'll get messages for people, but I didn't really like to do readings. And I certainly do not see myself as a medium, although, spirit will work through anybody. So I've had occasions where I've done a mediumship reading, but that's not my focus. And he says that is not really what I came here to do mediumship. That's why I didn't really dive into that. But again, spirit will use whoever is open to communicate if they need to. They don't care. So there were times when it just came through strong, or there were also times when other mediums, to my amazement, felt that I was very strong in this and wanted to invite me to seances and wanted me to even be the conduit for spirit, like in what's called a physical mediumship session. That's a whole other story. But I was surprised. I thought they were interested in Alan. And he said, no, they're interested in you. And I go, why? Why? But the medium who was there said, no, I know that you're very powerful, but you don't want to step into it. And I said, no, I don't. I'm not afraid of it. I said, I don't feel that's my calling. And indeed, in that circle, I felt like something was trying to take me out of my body. I could feel it, like somebody or something was trying to pull me out. And because I was pregnant at the time, I knew that wasn't going to be appropriate. I just knew that. I wasn't afraid of it. I just knew that's not good for my child. So I had to fight that. So that left a bad taste in my mouth about that. I said, I don't want to, do this. This isn't my thing. But Alan said to me later, he said, you just need to understand, though, that you do have the ability, but that's just not your path. Those are two different things. So when he came back and said, we're going to work together, and I was a little reluctant, to say the least. And he said, I promise you it'll be fun. And he showed me fun clairvoyantly by capital letters, F-U-N, fun. And he said, if you don't like it, if you don't have fun, you can quit. But can you try at least once? And I said, all right, I'll give you that. I'll try once. But we don't have any clients, Alan. You have had dementia for 2 years. You've crossed over. Everybody thinks you're, now they know you're gone, like you're dead, supposedly. How are we going to get clients? I don't do readings. And he said, wait, just wait. I'll manifest it. And I said, all right, you do that, I'm in. Within 12 hours, a client of his called asking for a reading. I don't think she actually had ever called him before. I think she had his number from years ago. She said she found his number. And I told her what happened, that he had crossed over and that he wanted to read with me. And she said, great. And so we did our first reading. She drove him crazy in that reading because she wouldn't listen to him. So he got really annoyed. And I knew that was him because he gets really upset when his clients don't listen. So he kept telling me, getting all upset, like, Pam, she's not listening to me, Pam, she's not listening to me. And he wanted me to swear at her to get her attention. And I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. He said, no, you're gonna have to, because she's not gonna pay attention. So I finally did swear at her. She didn't listen, she didn't hear that. We ended up getting through the reading, and we ended up giving her information that was really useful. And I feel good about it. But he was really frustrated. So we got off the call, and oh God, he just was like, oh, I hate that. He was just started complaining. And I just burst out laughing because that is so him. That's totally how he is. And I was roaring with laughter, and I said, all right, I'm in. This is so, you convinced me. That was fun. I could see what you wanted me to tell them. It was easy because you're doing it really. And of course I have the ability to also, but so it was fun. And he said, all right, now let's go and get clients. So I said, how are we going to do that? We don't. And he said, just announce in the Facebook group. So I said, it can't be that easy. He goes, just go and do what I tell you to do. So we did that. And within 12 hours, we had 17 people that booked sessions. And within 3 weeks, we had 57 people who had booked appointments. And by November, this was like about 3 months later or so, we had completed over about 150 sessions. And so the most amazing part of it was doing those sessions. He just came through and blended with me, and I knew that he was real. He was proving himself to me and other people, and people were reporting that they could some of them could see him afterwards, that they were talking to him. Sometimes they were getting healed, and I'd hear myself say things for him to people that amazed me. I said, "What? You can do that?" I mean, I would just say what he wanted me to say, and it all turned out to be real and helpful and useful. And he's been telling me we're just getting started. So right now where we're at is we're really getting into our book. I'm going to send the 150 or 200 or whatever documents that I've written, the posts that I've written, to my publisher. She and her team are excited about her book. She says they all want to read it or be in on it or something. They think it's quite amazing. So and Alan's really clear on how he wants the book to be done. We kind of told them, because they had a certain vision for us at first, and he said no, it's going to be more our story, not so much a how-to manual. It has to be the story first, and the how-to, meaning how to communicate with your loved one on their side, would be a little bit incorporated into the book, but also be something we teach outside of the book itself. But later there would be some sort of kind of manual, if you will. Okay, but we're not ready for the manual yet, is what he said. It's more about the story. Because he said this is really first and foremost an emotional journey, a spiritual and emotional journey, and a story about love that we all have with others, that never dies, that is always there, that your loved ones don't go anywhere, that they're right here. I mean, literally right here. Okay, you just can't perceive them, but with help, like how he helped me, you can start to connect. Okay, it is a process. It's not something for most people that's going to happen immediately. He says there could be some people for whom that would happen, but not usually. And also, which I didn't know or understand at the time, there are people who on the other side who want to come through, but they don't all have the ability to do that. They're not for various reasons not able to come through easily. He says some of them can come through very powerfully, and they do. But he says most of them can't. And just the other day, I happened to read a book by a psychic medium who said that, well, several of them have said the same thing. And one of them said, there is there are people, souls in heaven, who teach the other souls there how to come through to the earth plane. And as soon as I read that or heard that on the audiobook, Alan goes, "That's me. I'm doing that. That's what I told you, Pam, I'm doing." I said, I know. That's what you told me you're doing." And so I thought, okay, great. Everything I'm reading from other mediums confirms what he's told me or what I already knew. And that's just blowing my mind too. Like I didn't know fully the extent to which it's actually possible to connect with the other side. He says the main stumbling block is that people come up against what other people think. Because if you turn around to your friends and loved ones and say, "Hey, I talked to my husband the other night, we had dinner and this is what he told me," most people will just roll their eyes or just think, you got to get on medication. So it's not an easy path to walk by yourself. And that's why we're very committed to helping people with this, to form a community so that they have support, so they know that no, they're not making it up. No, you're not crazy. That this is real. It really upsets me that a lot of people who are grieving are told that what he and I know are encounters with the other side. They're told that it's all in their head. They're told that they are told to get medicated. They're told that there's a name for it too. So that they're hallucinating. And he says it's completely real. And luckily, some of those people can feel that it's real. They just know it. They feel their loved one holding them, or even see them, or they hear them, they experience them in some way, and they just know, because Alan says, your soul knows the truth, right? Your soul knows. If you make contact with your loved one from the other side, you will not be able to dismiss it. You may be completely confused and say, "What the heck is this?" But you're going to know something happened. You're not going to even think for a minute that somehow you conjured it up, because trust me, I've tried to conjure Alan up. He put me through this exercise in the very beginning where he came through really strong, and then he kind of backed away. And it was on my birthday. And that night I was really upset because I couldn't feel him. And I said, why aren't you here on my birthday? Tonight's my birthday. Where the hell are you? I was so upset. The next morning he said, "I pulled away and I'm sorry, I didn't want to hurt you, but I wanted you to see that you cannot make me up, because you tried, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah, I really tried, because I wanted to see you, be with you, or whatever. I wanted to feel you. And you weren't there, and I was really upset." And he said, "Yeah, I did that once. I'm never going to do it again, because I wanted you to see that you cannot make me up. As hard as you may try, you cannot conjure me out of thin air. You cannot. So I'm here and you'll feel me. And if I'm not, you'll know I'm not. But from this point on, I'm never not going to be with you." That was the first and last time. Because he said, "Yeah, because you got really upset." I said, "Yeah, heck yeah, it was my birthday. Thanks a lot for putting me through this test on my birthday." He said, "I'm never going to do that again, Dave." So there's so many lessons I've learned from him, so many things that he's explained to me, so many things he's still teaching me, so many things he's taught other people. And that's kind of the gist of it where we're at. There's so much more to the story. That's why we're writing a book. Yeah, so much more. So a lot of it is actually very funny because Alan has quite a big personality and was always quite funny, entertaining, very just almost a bit of a comedian. And he always wanted to be, I think he wanted to be in show business. He's saying he did want to be in show business. He wanted to be what he would call at the time a song and dance man, because he was born in 1937. So his favorite movie star was like Gene Kelly. So he wanted to be like Gene Kelly, and he also had a band, kind of like back in the days with the Beatles, and they wanted to tour the US, and that got derailed. That never happened, but he was in a band, he was a singer, he wanted to be on the stage. Now he says he'll be famous another way through the book. And he likes to tease people, joking around and say, yeah, I'm going to be famous. He's going to be famous. And I've had other psychics tell me he will be famous, Pam, trust me, because they could read his energy and say he's serious about that, because he feels that it's not about him being famous just to be famous. Because if he's famous, that means the work will be taken seriously. That's the main deal. Okay, so that's where we're at, and the sessions that we do, that we're going to do today, I like to say they're not conventional evidential mediumship. And evidential mediumship is mediumship that's done to prove life after death, to basically confirm that the person passed, let's say in the manner they passed, or details about the person that may or may not come. Because I will just be real open and say I'm not a trained medium. Alan is, and even though he can convey information to me, I still have to be the one that kind of connects with the loved one on the other side. So, you know, he says I'm really good at it, but it's just, for me, something I never felt was my thing to do. So, and I really, when I do anything, I want to be really good at it. I don't want to just like dabble in it. And I know that the mediums that I have as friends have studied this for years, and they still study it. Like, you never stop studying or practicing mediumship. So because I respect them, I don't really want to walk around saying, yeah, I'm a medium, you know, because I know what's involved. That said, he's telling me that, you know, what we're doing here is, in the mini readings that you'll see, that we're going to work, he's going to work on energetically really connecting the loved ones on both sides. Okay, think of it like he's over there working with the loved one in heaven and helping them come through, helping them get clear in their communication, maybe stronger in projecting their energy. And we both are working with the person we're talking to right here, just helping them understand, or even working with their energy field. Okay, so that, because our goal really is that, hopefully, it may not always happen, but our goal is that after your mini reading, or if you have a full reading with us, for sure, that you feel that you have that contact, that you feel that there has been a door that's opened, or that has opened wider, so that you can connect to your loved one. And okay, and Alan wants me to add that if we have worked with you, whether mini reading or a full reading, Alan is very much going to be there in the picture if you want to call on him. In other words, you can ask him to keep helping you connect with your loved one, to help you, you know, strengthen that link with them. Because again, this takes time. It's not like plugging in the phone and you can pick up the receiver and go, okay, I got it. It's not like that. You've got to work on your own energy field. You've got to, oh, he's reminding me that you've got to clear any resentment or forgive the person if they have hurt you. I had to go through that with Alan. That is important. And also the grief. If you are really stuck in heavy grief, it makes it really hard for them to come through, unless they're really strong in projecting, like Alan was and is. But he said, but a lot of them aren't, you know. So if somebody is really, really depressed, really breathing heavy, okay, he's showing me that it's like this dense fog, and they can't get through it. Like they can't. It just clouds everything. That's why it's a process. He's always told me it's an incremental journey, and it's always going to get stronger if you start walking down that pathway, okay? Because I feel it with him every day. It's a little different. It's a little stronger. There's a new realization, and he told me it's going to be like that until I leave this world. That I'm not going to get to a point, let's say in a couple of years, where I go, okay, I've reached this level with him and that's it. He goes, no, it's going to keep going, because that's just how the universe works. You never reach a point where there's the end. Like that's it for anything, whether you're in a body on the other side, there's never an end. There's always continuation. So he says, yeah, but it's humans who think that there has to be like a pinnacle or the end point, because we want to think there is. Because he says we don't like things to be open ended. We don't like to live thinking like there could be more and more and more and more. We want to know. We want to measure things and say, when do I know I got there? When do I know I've mastered this? He says the mastery is eternal. Okay, but it doesn't mean you can't get to a place where you're really in a good state with it. You know, like you really feel like it's flowing, like you really feel. But there's always going to be more and a little more and a little more. But he says to look at that as an adventure, you know, something that's exciting rather than something that's frustrating. It's really our perception about things. So so before we go on, so I just want to check in. Anybody have questions about what I've shared so far, what we've shared so far? If you do, you can pop something in the chat. You don't have to raise your hand or anything. You can post your question there if you have a question. Okay. Nobody. All right. So let's see. Let me just check in with him. All right. Alan's saying he wants everyone to take a moment and get centered, because he wants to work on everybody. He wants to work on kind of bringing the group together, bringing the group energy together to make it more cohesive. Let's see. Okay, great. We got about 29 people on the call. So I know some of you, this is your first time. So just close your eyes. We're not going to do anything really intense, but he's going to start working with you, showing me starting with your crown chakra, the top of your head. Okay, and whether you want to close your eyes or not, that's up to you. You don't have to. But he's going to, with your permission, meaning that, okay, he's not going to necessarily ask you directly as a person, right? Like, hey, Mary, can I do da da da? He's going to ask your higher self, or maybe you could say your soul, like, is this okay? And if he gets to go ahead, he proceeds. That's how he pretty much works with a lot of healings that he will do that are not necessarily consciously initiated, but because he's approached people, they've told me later that he showed up and they saw him and that he did a healing on them. I had that happen in the early days many times, that people would tell me that they saw him. And he said that he had asked them on that soul level and gotten permission. So he had worked on it. So, but if you can close your eyes, that would be ideal. But he's going to work on your crown chakra to just open that up and balance it. He's saying that this will help with the mediumship we're going to do, but he's also going to work on your heart chakra, which is also really key for mediumship, and really start clearing. Okay, he says there's a lot of pain and sorrow and grief, probably because there are several people on the call tonight who do want to connect with loved ones on their side. So there's going to be grief there. Okay, hold on a minute. So if everyone is working on your crown, but he's showing me the heart chakra, he's saying, so if you could, in your mind's eye, either there or feel it, your heart, feel what he's showing me is this pulsing, like the beat. You could say it's the beat of your heart. Like, feel your heart, feel into that. We're going to, like, he wants to synchronize everyone's hearts so that we're all in tune with each other. Because really, we're all one. We're not like separate from each other. That's just an illusion. So he just wants to synchronize everyone. And take a deep breath in and set the intention, if you're in agreement, to release anything that is troubling you, anything that is weighing on you, any grief you might have, any sorrow, any pain, any sadness, anything really that you would like to let go of. Just hold that intention, and he's going to do what he can to take that from you. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a second or two, and exhale through your nose, release, release, release. On the next inhale through your nose, we'd like you to breathe in light and allow that light to fill your heart, to fill your chest area, begin to spread throughout your body. And allow that light to grow brighter. And let that light go wherever it needs to go. It's self-intelligent. And just notice whatever comes up for you. Just notice if, as you do this, do you see anything? Do you feel anything different? Just notice that. And if you don't, that's fine. Now let's imagine, see, or feel that from our heart space, that we're reaching out and connecting to each other, forming a circle. And see, feel, or imagine any loved ones that you may want to communicate with in that circle. Because we're going to send them healing, because believe it or not, many of them still need healing. Some of them are still needing to be given forgiveness, like they still feel badly about what they did or didn't do. It's not like you cross over and everything is rosy. It is way better than it was here. But if they left this world with unfinished business and they had hurt any of their loved ones, they're still carrying the weight of that. There's actually, unbeknownst to a lot of people, there is some heaviness on the other side that will later get resolved, but they're in need of healing just as we're in need of healing. So let's send them our love. And as you send your love, you receive love in return. And take a deep breath in. And the exhale, I want you to come back fully into your body, ground yourself to the earth, just using your intention, and Alan's going to help you ground, even if you don't know what that is. Most of you do, I know that. But if anybody doesn't, just going to center you, ground you to the planet, because you're in a body and you need to be grounded, or it gets really difficult to navigate your way around the world. Okay, he says that's we're in sync. Okay, so we're gonna open it up to some sessions. So I know Barbara already like gave me a, okay, you're sending out me a message directly, Barbara, I see. And that's fine, but we'd like you guys to post in the chat if you would like a reading. And what's gonna happen is, and it's not gonna be first come basis, I'm gonna look through the feed and he's gonna say that person. And what we'll do is we'll have you unmute and we're going to talk. So it's not like, it's going to be interactive. It's not just going to be us sharing, we're going to talk to you. But we will, when we do bring you on, we'll need the name of the loved one that you want to connect with and their relationship, just to speed things up. That's why most, mediumship platform mediumship, usually they just say, oh, I have a man here, he's he's in his 30s, and who can take this person. And he says, Council, we don't have time for that. So we're just trying to get as many people as possible, and to do that. So, people, if you can mute yourself. I hear some noise in the background. Okay, everybody, yeah, go ahead. You can just put your names in there, and we're going to scroll up and down. Okay, he's already zeroing in on one person. Okay, so, and we are going to come back to the list, but first, Alan wants to start with Jill Charbonneau. He wants to talk to David. Jill Charbonneau.
Yep, I'm right here. I'm not sure how to get my picture up, but I am here.
Oh, well, you don't have to get your picture up, Jill. Don't worry about it if it's too hard. So, all right. So, well, you're a client of mine. I have to tell everybody. Yes. So, and I remember David is your husband who passed away. And Alan's saying he's been around you from that time that he left. But he's saying you've known that. But now he's telling me, but David comes and goes. He comes and goes, and he's. It's like, gosh, he's showing me like back and forth. He's really wanting to connect with you, but are you having trouble doing that? Because it's like Alan's showing me like he comes and checks on you, then he leaves again. Like there's something about that.
I occasionally see him in a dream, and I really see him in a dream, but that's every couple of years. And we have a child that we share that's here with me, and I always feel like he needs direction from his dad.
How old is your son? It's a son, right?
Yeah, he's 30. Well, I think what year is it? He's in his early 30s. Yeah.
But what was your son's name?
Alex.
Alex. So he was Alice saying Alex or Alec?
Alex.
Okay, so Alan's saying Alex is quite psychic, but he kind of isn't open to that now. Is that right? Like he used to be more open. Do you know what I'm talking about?
He's a very withdrawn person. He doesn't really deal with people. He pretty much lives.
Yeah, he doesn't really. Right. So David is showing me. David's been knocking on his door. He wants to talk to Alex directly because Alex isn't really open to you. But now Alan's saying this is why he's seeing David coming back and forth to the earth plane. Like he's trying to connect with Alex, but it's like he's not getting through. Now Alan is talking to David directly. I'm hearing him talking to him saying, okay, we'll work on that. Like, I'll help you work on that because there's something about, Alan's saying to me, there's something about a soul agreement between your husband and Alex that David would be helping him right now. Okay, so Alan's not telling me any more than that. He's just saying there is a soul agreement there. So he's going to work with David to facilitate that. Okay, it could mean, now they're both showing me, it could mean David more coming into Alex's dreams. Like Alan had to do that with our son, who wasn't really ready or prepared to grieve. He just wasn't crying. And Alan kept telling me, Ken, he's got to cry. Like, I want to come through to him, but I can't if he doesn't cry. And I said, well, how do I do that? I can't make him cry. So after about, I think a couple of months, finally, Taylor, maybe 3 months, Taylor told me that he had a dream of Alan. And at first he didn't recognize Alan because he appeared young. He appeared like he was when I first met him. Of course, Taylor hadn't been born yet. So he saw this man, said, "Who is this?" And then he goes, "Oh, it's my dad." Okay. And when he realized it was his dad, he just started crying and crying and crying and woke himself up because he cried so much. But after that, then Alan could more connect. Okay, he's not connecting with him all the time, but he broke through so that there was, then Taylor started feeling it. Okay, so David's saying, yeah, Alan's going to help him get through to Alex to communicate, because I feel like your son is stuck for some reason. I mean, and so his dad really wants to get him going. And Alan says he can. So does that make sense, Jill? I mean, hello, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm listening to you. I don't believe Alex has outwardly grieved in the 20 years since his father left.
Right. That's why Alan told me to tell the story about Taylor, like crying. Like Alan just made him cry because he showed up, right? Because dreams, those dream visitations, they are real. Okay, anybody who questions that, hasn't really had one. I mean, they are real, because that is the most common way that the other side comes through in dreams, because it is sort of the bridge. It's not, dream world isn't heaven, but it's where they can come through, they can connect with us, and we go into the dream world, and you can interact. So and that's really, really common for people say that they've had a dream of their loved one that felt so vivid. But yeah, David just didn't know how to really project himself. Alan, I mean, really could, or can even now. So Alan says, "I've got this. I'll be working with David. Like, don't worry about that." But that's okay. That makes sense to me, because I said, "Why does he keep coming back? I didn't think that was necessarily all for you." Because you kind of got your life going, and you probably want to see how he is, but you're not in desperate need to connect, right? It's not like
I have sense from you that he's okay. He has work to do, but he's okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of sense that I get from you.
Right, and that you're okay, because a lot of people who've lost someone, they still have some unresolved things, or they're still just deep in grief. They're just can't move on. They can't seem to go forward. Okay. Well, okay, it was good seeing you, Jill, on the call. Thanks. So I hope that helped. I'm going to mute you. Sorry, I muted you, Jill. But you might have said something when I just muted you. So, all right, we're going to just scroll around here and see. Showing me okay, he seems to want to talk to Marilyn, who wants to let her mom and Sugai know that she's okay and forgive all the family emotions. So Marilyn, do you want to unmute?
Yes, I did.
Hi.
Hi, you look wonderful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. So what's the story? I mean, your mom was Anne?
Anna.
Is that right? Okay.
She had us, the girls, made some kind of promise to her upon her death about my brother, and she made separate promises. And there was a conflict in that. So it kind of tore the family apart.
Because your mom made promises. Is that right?
Yeah.
So okay, so first Alan wants to say something, then I'm going to kick him up. But Alan's saying that it's really common for, when we're in a body, like we're still here, and we say, well, I want this, like, I want you to do this for me, or I want, and then when we get over there, we realize, oh, what was I thinking? That wasn't ever going to work out. like, and so he's saying, because he wants to make this point for everybody. So if your loved one says, this is what I want, like they're on their deathbed, so to speak, like don't do this, or I want this done, or whatever, and you feel like, oh my God, that's what they asked me to do. He said, please give yourself a break, because when they cross over and they look back and they go, that was unrealistic, or that wasn't as important as I realize it is now, it's not important. Okay, so their perspective, he says, really changes when they get there. They understand that whatever they were worried about or concerned about and wanted everybody to do is like nothing. Okay, so he says 99% of the time, they simply want, what's best for everybody, that they have let go of whatever, issues they had or whatever concerns they have, what they're worrying about, what was important to them. They see their life and everybody in their family from a broader perspective. So he wants everyone to know to just let that go. If you feel guilty about not fulfilling what your loved one asked of you, okay, for one thing. But he says, and he's saying to me, your mom is somehow she's trying to make peace with everybody, and maybe not succeeding, but it's like he says she feels responsible, and she's saying, yeah, I feel responsible, like and but at the same time, I see her laughing, like she knows this is upsetting, but she also, this is funny to me. I think, why are you laughing? But she's kind of like laughing, like wanting everyone to see this from the broader perspective. Like, hey guys, it's only life. When you get here to the other side, you realize what's really important, and it's not that stuff. It's none of the stuff that we're arguing about or fighting about or struggling to get, or it's not that stuff. So it's all about the love. It's all about the connection with each other. So let all the small stuff go, and like the saying goes, it's all small stuff.
Yes, there's a big rift in the family where there's absolutely no communication now between our brother. It's like disowned, everybody's on their separate ways now, which is really sad, because I tried to do everything she wanted me to do. Even though I didn't feel it was correct, she made promises to my brother, which she told me she didn't mean. And that's probably why she's laughing. But I took it to heart, and it's been really tough.
Yeah, and you kind of got stuck with it, right? Like, so I can feel it's really hit you hard. And so she comes in with a lot of love and concern for you. And Alan's saying that he's going to work with your mom to kind of soothe everybody. It's one of these things where it's like, you can't directly do anything. Like everybody's like upset. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to each other.
Yes.
It's just like, you have to go in at another level, and they can't, because they're on the other side. So there's things that they can do to reach out to them and love them and calm them. And, so let it just take its time. And Alan's saying for you, what he would suggest is that you talk to them in your mind, like soul to soul, because they will hear you, right? The true them will hear you.
I do that.
Right. So just keep doing that, and now they're going to do that.
Okay.
So the three of you are going to do that. And there'll be some. He says there will be. He's not saying some. He's saying there'll be lessening of the tension. He's just going to take time. And he says, remember though, you're all grieving too. Like that just makes it, harder on top of that, right? It's hard enough if they're hurt feelings or disappointments or resentment, all that, but then you have like the grief. And then he says, a lot of you're kind of raw. So it's just, only saying, remember too, that when we grieve, other issues that we may not have dealt with, that losses, which we probably needed to grieve before, that were unrelated, come up too. So everything that we haven't dealt with that even remotely relates to loss or grief gets stirred up. So it gets even heavier. So he's saying he's going to work with your mom and he's going to help her do that.
Okay.
And now I see her like praying. I see her like, yes, please, like I want you to do that. Because she really does feel terrible about it. And she's asking your forgiveness. But at the same time, just know that she's in a good place. She's really laughing,
Okay.
like lighthearted about
I can see her
life
doing that.
over there. Like, was she a person who laughed easily anyway? I mean, I don't know, but
Sometimes she's a very diehard, she's been through a lot because she was through the war and everything like that. So I don't want to say she was really cold-hearted, but she did have this weird sense of humor.
well, my husband has a weird sense of humor, so I think he's enjoying your mom's sense of humor.
Yeah.
Kind of like, he always likes people that were a little different.
Yeah, she was.
A little different. His first wife would say, "Why do you always like weird people?"
Oh, she'll fit in.
He'd say because they're more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so she's laughing, she's having a good time. She's really good place. But she wants to make amends with you and everybody. So she's gonna work on that. So yeah, we'd like to hear how that goes. So if you can, let us know, but it's gonna help. But
All right.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Thank you, Alan, too. Both of you.
You're welcome. He says you're welcome. I'll just mute you. Okay, all right. Now we're going to go back to the top. All right, he wants to talk to Nikki Robinson. Nikki, are you still here? If you are, can you unmute? I know you haven't said who you want us to bring through, but.
Hi, Pam.
Hi.
It's my husband, Greg.
As soon as you said his name, I see him wrapping his arms around you and hugging you and saying that to believe that you're feeling him. Like, do you feel that you're sensing him? Because he's telling me that you are.
I feel it, but then I doubt it, and then I feel guilty for doubting it, and all sorts of emotions. Yeah.
Right. I know that feeling. Okay, I totally know it. Just understand that you feel that way because all of us are been programmed to believe that what you can't see can't be real. So we're up against the collective programming. So that's what you have to kind of keep reminding yourself, that it doesn't mean it's not real. It just means that you've been kind of brainwashed, like we all have been, that you to only believe in what you can see. So you have to shove that aside. But because Al was saying to me, yeah, he's like wrapped his energy around you and is trying really hard to have you feel him. But it requires you to lean into that, requires you to open up to that and not care whether, is it real or not. Like, it's one of those things where it won't really become more real for you unless you just believe that it is to start with, because then it'll grow. Because if you have to wait for it to be so visceral and and maybe more unmistakable, it may not get there. Because he's saying you got to reach them halfway. You got to be open. Some people are just so sensitive that they can't help but feel them because they're just wired that way. But we're all different. And so Alan's kind of reading your energy and saying that right now the grief he's showing me is really got you kind of emotionally locked down a bit. So Alan wants to help him and help you kind of open that up. Okay, so also, are you letting yourself cry? Like really letting yourself have your emotions? Or are you trying to hold that in?
No, I cry. I cry a lot. Yes, I do.
Okay, so he says, so keep doing that. Think of it this way. This is kind of how Alan explained it to me, because when he first came to me, he was making me cry. He would make me listen to music that would just make me cry, like constantly. He said, why are you making me cry? He said, because you have to release this grief to make room for my love to come in. Because if all you're doing is holding on to the grief and you're just stuck in it and you're trying not to feel it, or you're trying to stuff it down, he said, I can't get through. And even though he was getting through, even though I was grieving, he said he wanted to come through more. So he would on purpose, like get me to cry.
Right.
And then he's showing me that that would open a space so that he could more come in. So he's saying to keep doing that, okay? And he says, please just choose to believe. You really, in this journey, what I've discovered is you really have to go all in. You have to just believe, choose to believe that they're there. And then that leads to more evidence, that leads to more experiences. Also, today, Alan was reminding me of something. I've always known this, but he wanted me to mention it on the call. That, because I've talked about it to our group and to other webinars we've done, but he really wants to emphasize this. Music is a powerful way to connect with our loved ones and to really feel them emotionally, okay? Because music is pure emotion. It is emotion, right? Like you listen to something and it either moves you or it doesn't, right? And you have a different response, right? And there will always be certain songs that really, you can really feel your loved one through that song. You just feel them come in. That's what happens with Alan. And what I've done literally since he passed was listen to all the music that he kept giving me. And when I listen to it, I feel him more. I feel his love, I feel his emotion, I feel his presence. He gives me goosebumps, or I just feel him around me, right? So he wants me to emphasize to everybody that to use the power of music to create that bridge to the other side, right? Because that you will know is real, that you feel their love, that you feel comforted, that you feel this almost this excitement that they have. Okay, there's a whole range of emotion. So in our Facebook group, I don't know, are you in our Facebook group?
I am.
Okay, so in our group, and anybody who's on the call is not in our group, just join our group if you want to, Supernatural Love and Life After Death. And in the group, we have a playlist of songs that Alan gave me. Most of them are songs that he directly gave me. Some of them are songs that I put on there for him, like dedicated to him. Most of them are, there may be only, I don't know, half a dozen that I did, or maybe 10. But about 149 or 150, the number keeps growing, are songs that he gave me directly or through other people. He told them this song is for Pam, and they literally, gave me the song, that this is, Alan said, this is for you. And the songs are encoded with energies, light codes, just love, energy. They can layer their emotion on the song. So don't think that that song that you listen to that's on our playlist is from Alan. Think of it like if you feel drawn to that song, it's likely because your loved one is signaling to you that they want to come in on that wave, on that music. Okay, because it is a transmission, it's an energy transmission. So I would suggest, and I know that you listen to it. I know there are other people in our group that have listened to the songs, even people who haven't, not trying to open up to loved ones on their side, who simply wanted to open their hearts, wanted to feel more. Alan said that was the main reason he gave it to me, is, was to get me into my feelings, because on the other side, they're all emotion. They are high level empaths. They feel emotion more deeply than we do. And so if we want to connect, we have to be emotionally open to engage with them. We can't be shut down emotionally. I was very shut down because I had to take care of Alan with his dementia for 2 years. So, if you have to do that, you have to be in your head. You can't be in your heart, or you're just not going to make it. You have to be like, you're kind of in survival mode, just to get through it. But once he passed, he came back and said, I have to open you up so that because you're not alive. You shut down and you're more dead than I am. You've got to come back to life if we're going to have a relationship. So for a lot of us here, we need to open up more and be okay with crying in the beginning, because sometimes when I would listen to those songs, I would cry. Even now I'll cry. But then after that, I'll feel better, or I'll feel happier. I just go through a lot of emotion through the day, and I'm used to it by now. But use the music and set the intention when you listen to any of the songs on the playlist to see what he would like you to listen to. Because he'll let you know, like you'll listen to the song and maybe feel chills or goosebumps or tingles. It could be very subtle. It could be really strong. That is one of the, to me, significant ways that they communicate is through our body. Is through giving us these goosebumps, because you can't make that up. You can think that you heard them talking to you, but think you made it up and not be sure. Or you could maybe see something clairvoyantly, but not be sure what it was and think that you imagined it. But when you feel something physically, it's just too real. It's too visceral to just ignore. You may not know why you're feeling it, but you felt something.
Yeah.
So Alan's saying, use the music. And because first he really wants you to feel his love. When we later teach this, because we are putting together a program to teach our brand of spirit communication, the music and emphasizing feeling their love is going to be a big part of it, because some people might think that the ultimate would be to see them, like clairvoyantly. But Alan says that's actually not as important as we may think, that the feeling, the emotional connection is vastly more important, because then you'll feel their comfort. You'll feel like when you go to sleep at night, you will kind of feel them wrapping their arms around you, their etheric arms around you. And you wake up, you'll feel better. You might not feel completely chipper, you might still have some grief going on, but you'll feel better. And you certainly will start to feel loved. And he did that for me, because he said that was the most important thing, that I would feel his love, even if I was grieving. And so I did from the beginning. And even when I was still having a lot of grief, I looked happier to people. I looked younger to people. I felt better. It's just that I wasn't up and down, one minute really crying and the next minute. But I had moments when I felt so alive and ecstatic, like I've never felt before. So I knew I wasn't making that up. You can't make that up, because otherwise people would try. Like, let me try to make myself feel elated, but it's their love that can do that. And our love for them. Alan's saying it's the two-way thing. It's like our love for them and their love that they're projecting to us, because now that they're on the other side, their love is on a whole other level than it was when they were here. Okay, they can love us purely and unconditionally, which they more than likely weren't able to when they were in a body. So you're going to receive this love that very few people are able to receive, because on the earth plane, there are no perfect relationships. I don't care how much in love two people are, you don't, we're imperfect in this reality. That's just how it is. It's how it's meant to be, so that we learn our lessons and all that. But it means that perfect love only exists on the other side. So if you have a loved one, you have a partner or spouse, you actually have the potential to have this amazing love connection that you couldn't have when you were here. Like, even if you did have a strong relationship, it's going to be on a whole other level if you connect with them over there. Okay. And the communication with them on the other side, once you get that, going a bit, which is not as hard as you or anyone may think. When you have that, you can communicate with them in a way that you probably weren't able to before either, because they're different. They're more expanded as a consciousness. They're more their true self. It's hard to explain, but I have a better relationship with Alan now than when he was here. So he's quite often says to me, "Isn't it good that I'm dead? Isn't it better that I'm dead?" Well, I said, "I'll take this over you having dementia any day." And yeah, actually, I get along better with you now than I did before, because you used to be cranky and you used to be mildly depressed all the time, and you never wanted to do anything. You didn't really want to talk about too many things except a limited, subjects. And now it's like a totally different thing. And he's here for me 24/7. Like, I don't care how much somebody loves you. If they're in a body, they don't have time to give you the attention 24/7. They can't be there for you all the time. They got their own things to do. They got their own problems, right? They can't be everything and all things to us. It just can't be. But when you connect with someone on the side, they're just there for you all the time. It's just, you got to get used to the fact that, unfortunately, that they're not in the body. That's the hardest part. And the body has its own mind. Like, the body wants what it wants and says, but I want him in a body. And you have to kind of find a way to override that and talk to your body and help it understand that, yeah, but that can't be, but this can still be good. It's not going to be perfect, but it can certainly be better than living here believing that we don't have them at all.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
obviously, yeah, Greg died very suddenly, totally unexpected. A very healthy man, and I think I'm just still trying to process the fact that he's gone, let alone, and I want to feel him, and I don't trust my own feelings sometimes, because my head's just full of so much going on at the moment. And when you talk about the music, every Sunday morning we used to listen to a radio program, Sunday morning love songs. And one week since all this happened, I came back from the beach, walking the dog. 9 o'clock came, I put the radio on, and within a few minutes I was like, no, I can't listen to this. And I started crying and I turned it off. The following Sunday, I came back from the beach, 9 o'clock, put it on again. And immediately the first 3 songs that played all gave me a very clear message. And I took a lot of comfort from that. And now I'm able to listen to that program every Sunday morning now. And I wrote it down in my little book. I've tried writing everything down, but I've wrote down the 3 songs. And they weren't songs that we shared together, but just the words of the songs just meant a lot to me at that time. But I just, as you say, I need to trust my own feelings more, and I need to embrace that he is there, I guess. I believe it.
I promise you that he's there. Okay. Alan tells me that they all are here. And the only time that they might not be is if we're not open to that. Like, we're not trying to reach out to them. And especially if we're grieving, like, and we're in such pain and we're not open to connecting. Alan says some of them just can't take it. It's like they'll stay as much as they can because they love us. But at some point, if this goes on for months or years, that it's like it's just too hard. So, but he says they can come back. But if we're open to the connection and we want to foster it, they're going to be right here, because they do not incarnate. They don't come back to the earth plane until we go over there. And if this is your partner, pretty much, unless he says in some instances, the couple, like, their soul contract is complete and And the loved one on their side might even help the loved one here to find a new mate. But most of them are going to be here until we leave, because like, where else would they go? Okay, that he also wants me to point out that to understand that all of us, whether we're in a body or not in a body on the other side, we're multi-dimensional beings. So we can be in many different places at one time. Even while you're here in a body, you can, and many of us are. We just don't know it. Okay, I mean, I know I am, because, well, it's a whole other story, but I know I have been in other places. And but certainly when they're on the other side, they can be in many places. So Alan could be with a million people if he wanted to be, and so could your husband. So they'll want to be with us if there is something going on, if we're wanting to engage with them and we're talking to them or feeling them. I would suggest that every time that program comes on in the morning, the Sunday mornings, you said, like, make it like your date time, like sit down and know you're going to connect with them. And after this program ends, if it were me, I would continue to kind of commune with him, or maybe write any messages he wants to give me. But see how the music is so powerful, because the lyrics are a message. The words in there, Alan has given me music and said, listen to the lyrics, because it's what I want you to know. The first song he gave to me was Phil Collins singing A Groovy Kind of Love. And he made me keep hearing the song in my head, like for a couple of days. Like I'd get up in the morning, hear Phil Collins singing all day long, unless I was talking to somebody or watching television, then it would stop. But then next morning, same thing. And I said, why are you giving me this song? He said, listen to the lyrics, listen to the lyrics. This is what I'm doing. I'm lying next to you, listening to your breathing, listening to your heartbeat. And don't we have a groovy kind of love? You know, and I started crying, and that was like, he was trying to tell me, listen to the music that I'm giving you now and that I will be giving you. They all do that. Okay. And anyone listening who says, well, that hasn't happened to me so far, I'd say, if you want that, tell your loved one, hey, can you talk to me through music? I'm open to that. Could you send me some songs? I'm open to that. And if you happen to have like an Echo, right? You have Alexa, you have Echo, and you have something that can stream music. Let the music just start streaming, and set the intention that you're going to know if they're trying to give you a song, that you'll feel it, you know, because that's what happens for me. Sometimes I'll hear a song and I can feel Alan going, that song, like that's for you. Like one day, this was months ago, I was again listening to something randomly on my phone from Amazon Music. It was just random songs playing, and the song, Joe Cocker's song, "You Are So Beautiful," came on. As I'm hearing it, I practically fell over. Like, I'm walking with my laundry, and I felt like I lost my balance. I go, oh my God, because Alan just came in, landed like, you know, boom. And I said, okay, I hear you. You're telling me this song is from you. All right. That's an example of how they communicate and make their presence known. And Alan says he feels that that's really powerful, because I knew I felt that. I wasn't trying to feel it. It was just songs playing, and my whole body just like reacted. It wasn't, I couldn't make myself do that. I was thinking of something else, thinking of how to manage my laundry, like trying to do something. So they like to give us that kind of almost unmistakable confirmation that you can't really deny it. Like, whoa, I had this, like the goosebumps, the chills, tingles, whatever. Maybe the hair standing, you know, on the back of your neck, standing on edge, that kind of thing. They can do all of that. Ask him for signs. They can give us signs. I mean, I know you're in our group, so we did that live where we talked about signs. So if you weren't on that, you know, watch that, signs from heaven. And you can tell them what signs you want too. like I said. And I would suggest everybody, if you haven't explored that already, to get them to send you music.
Okay. I asked him the very early days at the beach. I said, I don't want robins and I don't want feathers because I see those all the time. I said, you know, I'm not going to make it easy for you. And I asked for heart stones. I asked for heart stones. And before I left the beach, I got the most beautiful heart stone on the beach. And I have a collection of heart stones now. And
All right. You know, I love that. You go,
yeah.
girl. That's what you should do. Just ask for the hard stuff. But hey, I want the real proof.
On one hand, I have all these beautiful heart stones. And then there's this bit of me that's saying, but am I making this up in my head? Am I,
No.
And I'm beating myself up over it, I think, really. I so want it to be. And I'm worried.
Well, let go of that. Okay. That, and know that little bit of doubt is always going to be there a bit. It's still with me too. Don't get me wrong. But I'm at this point where I have with me, it's like I get to the point where I go, okay, I want more proof.
Yeah.
You haven't given me some for a while, and I get really demanding. Like, all right, and I'll just talk to Alan, and he'll go, okay, I'll do better. But yeah, you're gonna always have that because you're in a body, and again, people around you, just it's really like the thought matrix, you know, the programming that controls everybody. It's really hard to kind of buck against that. You just got to realize, all right, that's out there and I'm going to ignore that, but it's not always easy. That's why we created our Facebook group, because we wanted people to have a place where they could share that and not have people talk to them or act like they're nuts or question. Like, you share whatever happens to you in our group, everybody goes, great, cool, that's real. No one's going to question that. Okay, you've got to have that attitude until you get to the place where you just know. And for you, this happened, right? I mean, even if it was like a year or 2 years ago, for a lot of people, that's still fresh. But you know, in the beginning, it's hardest. But okay, so I love talking to you because I know that what we shared would help you, but also help a lot of other people. So I hope that helps. But he's showing, Alan's saying he's just wrapped around you. And you do know, by the way, that he's lying on his side of the bed, right? At night. Because they do. They're always on their side of the bed.
Yeah.
Like if I roll over there, Alan goes, oh, good, you're coming to me. Or he'll say, why aren't you coming over to me on my side of the bed? But they're on their side of the bed. And so I would recommend anybody who wants to connect with their loved one, go sleep on their side of the bed and know that when you do that, they're wrapping their arms around you. Okay. That's a good place to sleep. I do that on his side of the bed. The only time I sleep on my side of the bed is if I go, okay, I need to think about something, or I need some space. Or I'm mad at him because I have gotten upset at him, and it's always works out in the end. But I'll go, I'm really annoyed with you, and he doesn't bother him. He just knows I'm gonna in the morning go, okay, I'm better now. But it's like a real relationship where you have your ups and downs, and you go, I don't understand this. I'm annoyed with you. There's really not that much of that, with he and I. But I'm saying it is like a completely real relationship. It's just that not so minor fact that he doesn't have a body. Okay, so thanks for connecting and share in the group, what's going on, and reach out for support if you need that.
I will.
We're here for you. Okay.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, sorry, I muted you, Nikki. Let's move on. Alan's saying we're probably gonna end up going for 2 hours because I just want to get through more of you. Hold on, let me just see who he wants to go to. Okay, Alan is wanting to talk to Sandy, Sandy Rebo. Sandy, can you unmute?
Thank you. Thank you
Hey.
so much. Does he have
So,
anything to say?
go ahead.
Does Alan just have anything to say kind of right
About-
off the bat with Terry?
Well, first, Alan seems to be referencing Daniel, and okay, so folks who don't know, Daniel and Alan knew each other. Well, we all know each other, and Daniel's on the other side, and he started coming through more to Sandy when Alan passed away. It's like Alan kind of took Daniel under his wing and helped him to really connect with Sandy, which she and I've talked about, and it's quite amazing. But first, he's here, and Alan is saying something about, okay, I don't know if it was Alan or Daniel saying something about good job, like to you. I don't know, saying like good job to you. Okay, it's Alan saying good job to you. But Terry, now, was Terry a friend of both of you?
She was a family friend from my sister's 66, and they were friends from the time they were 12. And so she was family. She was family. And Terry and Daniel connected very deeply. Terry was very gifted. She worked with Arthur Pacheco and all kinds of stuff, but had a tragic, tragic life. And well, go ahead and tell me what you can tell me.
Well, first, they're showing me Terry doing cartwheels, like,
yes,
and they're all having a party over there.
Yeah.
But Terry's coming through to you. Like,
she is, I know, but
yeah, what's going on with that? Because that's why Ellen's saying, like, you got this. Like,
keeps trying to reach me, and I can't. Let me just really briefly tell you what happened. Is that she had a stroke 2 years ago and nearly died. Was in the hospital for months and was in rehab for months, and then about a year and 3 months ago went into supported living. And at that point, she and my sister and I, she's here on Oahu, my sister's on the mainland, totally reconnected, totally. And she and I would talk 2 and 3 times a month, and Susie would talk to her. Prior to that, there'd been some problems and some distance. Now, about a month ago, a little over a month ago, neither my sister nor I could get a hold of her, and she wasn't calling us. And she was connected to nobody but us. So I had to call her. I called her doctor, who did not have permission to talk to me, through HIPAA, and explained what the situation was. And he said, I'm not even supposed to tell you this, and I can't give you real information, but Terry died last month. So now we at least know. I got that information a few days ago, but we don't know what any of the circumstances were. But what we do know is that we were so there for her for this whole year before she left. And we're both just so sad.
I feel like as soon as you said you didn't know how she passed, I felt the heart. I felt heart issue. That was the heart.
I think so.
The heart, like, I just feel like it just stopped, like, so heart attack or what have you, but it just stopped, and totally painless. Like most death is just, unless the soul for some reason wants to experience it, they just like out of body, they just leave the body. But I felt like heart. Ellen showed me like shit.
Yeah, great. That fits what I thought.
Yeah, actually saying like, and she's around you, and and she's having a blast with Daniel.
Oh, I know.
Of course. And now Alan's saying, or maybe, okay, I'm getting Alan and Daniel mixed up. It's like,
That's okay.
Like they keep talking over each other. Like, I'm gonna tell, no, I'm gonna tell it. No, I'm gonna tell it. Like you're going to hear from her, like you're going to, that's all gonna happen. But I don't know. They're just talking over each other.
I think for me, the whole thing was just, we both felt so sad, my sister and I. that we hadn't had a final conversation. We didn't know what happened. We don't know
Well,
if she buried or cremated, but I'm thinking that's just our path to walk right now with her
well,
and connect with her on that end.
yeah. And that's how obviously she set it up, right? Like she created
Mhm.
this way, and to let go. I mean, understandable that you would have liked to have had contact or like to know what was going on, but she created it that way. So,
And she does know how much we loved her, right?
oh yeah. Oh, and
I
you
mean,
do know you can still talk to her, so it's not
I
like
am,
if
but
you
we
if
can't,
as
we
she
keep
hears you.
missing.
No, she hears you. You're
I'm
just
sure
not. Alan's saying you're just not hearing her,
yeah.
because she hears you.
I feel
Cause,
her,
'cause-
and then I try to connect, and she's gone.
so, because
Yeah.
everybody, you guys all know that the other side, they read our thoughts. Like you can't hide. Well, I'm going to say you can't hide your thoughts. Alan's saying technically that's true. Some people are worried, like, oh, do they see everything I'm doing? like I don't have any privacy. You can say, I want my privacy, like scram,
Yeah.
and they literally will leave the room. Okay, even Alan will leave the room if I tell him, could you just get out of here?
Yeah.
They will. That's kind of like spiritual law, I guess. Alan's saying, yeah, it's kind of like the agreement. So if you don't have to worry about it, they're not, right? But she has been hanging around you
Yeah.
because she knows this has been weighing on you, and she wants
Yeah.
to help you feel better about it. So she knows what you're thinking. She knows what you're trying to say to her. They all do, guys. So if you want to talk to somebody on the other side, you just focus on their name, see them in your mind, and they're right there. Now, some mediums will tell you that you can't connect with everyone. Alan says that's not really true, because remember, we're multidimensional. So there's like, even right now, for all of us who are here in a body, there's a part of us, a multidimensional aspect of us that's in heaven, that stays there.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're also here, and we're also somewhere else, and somewhere else, and somewhere else, but we're there too. So the idea that you can't talk to somebody, he goes, that's not true. They might not want to talk to you, which is a different thing, but usually they do. And I've talked to other mediums who said, yeah, you can talk to anybody who's in, okay, no, Alan wants me to change that. You can talk to anybody who's in a body and who's not in a body, because you can talk to everybody. It doesn't matter if they're still here in a body or if they're on the other side. You can be a medium for the living and a medium for the quote dead. I don't like to use the word dead because they're not dead.
Yeah.
But you can talk to anybody, really, because it's just consciousness. Consciousness doesn't like go away. And he's saying 90% of the time, yeah, they're going to come through, unless for some reason that's not going to be good for you,
Yeah.
or not useful or something. But that's kind of rare. Okay, but
Thank
yeah,
you.
she's around you, and Alan says you're gonna hear from her,
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
soon.
Daniel's response when I was, communicating with him about it was, he's just laughing. He's going, oh, she's fine. She's been wanting out of that body for years, is what he said. And he said, so you send her back to me. We just keep trading off with Terry, don't we? Or something like that. So I know
Yeah.
she's okay.
Right.
The thing I really appreciated hearing from you was that you confirmed exactly what I believed to be true when I was asking
Yeah.
my spirit guides, that it was
Yeah,
quick and
you should
painless.
Yeah, you should trust it, because Sandy, by now, right? We've been telling you, you're psychic. Okay, just accept it.
Okay.
Okay,
But
just
I
accept
wanted
it
to
already.
share. I wanted to share that knowing
Right,
too.
right. No, it
So
was the heart. Like, just, I mean, I would, if when I go, I would like it to be that way, just like quick, like, okay, the heart just stops and I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, no pain, just done. Okay.
And this will be
So,
good for my sister. I'll give my sister a call and let her know, because she knows I do all this stuff. So all this stuff.
yeah, all this stuff, this stuff.
And she knew Terry and I did all this stuff together for years, so she'll be really happy to hear this.
We like that high level definition, the
Yeah,
stuff
this stuff.
that we
Thank
do.
you so much. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Sandy.
And what was the name of the woman that Nikki? Wait, what was
It's
the name?
Nikki, who was we talked to a minute ago.
Yeah,
She's in our
I
group.
want to send her so much love. I so in the beginning went through so much of what she's going through, and just sending her love.
Oh, that's really sweet of you. Thanks. Yes, thank God. That when I went through that too, mine was like in stages. Like the grief was held back and then it came roaring in, and then it would come back up a bit and then it come roaring back again. Oh my gosh. But then that is kind of the grief process for most of us. All right, so we're gonna
Thank you
here. You're welcome. Thanks. Good to talk to you, Sandy.
Yeah, me too.
Hold on. See what Ellen is. I'm gonna look at gallery view. Okay. Okay, so Alan's wanting to talk to Deborah, who's I guess in Toronto. If you're still on the call, if you'd like to unmute. Oh, I do see you. I'm asking you to unmute. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, I'll turn my video on.
Great, hi.
Hi.
Hey, so you want to talk to your sister Lori, who in 2009. Well, of course, she comes through a lot of love, but Ellen's saying that she's quite spiritually gifted. And like she's trying to, he's showing me she's trying to help you with things right now. And he says you really got to listen to her because she knows so he's saying she knows so much more now from her perspective, and that she is like a guide to you. Do you feel her like that, like she's a guide to you?
Yes.
Because he's saying that she's getting stronger in her spiritual awareness and her understanding about like the universe. He's almost telling me like her consciousness is rather, which he actually has a lot of respect for, her consciousness is rather, the word he's giving to me is like scientific, like wanting to explore and understand things to a deep level. So like he's just describing to me like her on the other side, like she's learning a lot and exploring a lot and experiencing a lot and mastering a lot. So she's an amazing guide for you. And Alan is now saying like, how are you using that, or how is that working for you?
Well, I do feel that we have been in communication, since her passing. And when she was here in the physical, she was always very tuned in, tapped in and tuned into spiritual. Yeah. And yet it was misunderstood, or she was misunderstood, let's just say.
I was saying she was kind of before her time. Not kind of like, he likes people like that. Okay, they're kind of out on the edge, like on the frontier where everything is new and they're not back with the herd, and he's saying that there's something about, I'm hearing her say something about a book with you. Are you feeling like you want to write a book?
Yes.
Because she's talking about a book, and the book is important. Okay. So, and Alan's like nodding. He's going, yeah, that book is important. She wants to write this book with you, and it's going to come together. Like, don't overthink it. He says, okay, now he's showing me like the book might be something like, oh, okay, saying the first book, because so there may be more than one book. The first book looks like it's kind of small, like short, you know, like I don't know, maybe 120 pages. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a thick book. It's not a big book, but he's showing me something, yeah, something that's, yeah, that's a thin, you know what I mean, like a smaller book, and that because that would kind of get you into it, like lead you into it, and not be so overwhelming. Like if you thought you had to write a, 50,000 word book or something, but that's your choice. But that's what he's showing me. How does that feel to you, or does that make sense to you?
It really does, because I do have a couple of books in the works. However, I mean, one has been in the works for
For a
maybe
long time.
but yeah, and it would be a short book. It
Yeah.
would be.
He said,
Yeah.
get the short book done first. Get the easiest book to the finish line first. Okay, because then the other ones will be easier. But you got to he keeps showing me this thinner book. So don't mistake it, saying that's shorter or thinner, that means it's lesser. He goes, some books don't need to be, long, right? But he's saying like, do it. She really wants to do that with you. So don't be one of these writers, because I know some of them who have tons of writing that they've started. They got so many books they started, they never finished them. Yeah. He says, just get that small book done, and then everything's going to start moving. Okay, but just get that done, and it should be. He's showing me like that this could all be done within like 6 or 7 months, because you kind of have it all in front of you, don't you?
I do. For one, I've taken a lot of photographs and stuff, and it is a playful book. And I think I need to write it. So I will ask her to write it with me.
Right.
And I have the concept. The concept was given to me, and it's just a matter of, I think, of writing it. And it would be geared probably toward maybe, I don't know, younger kids, adolescents, but even adults too.
Yeah, right. So, because he just tells me, and well, your sister's telling me that she's more advanced now on the other side. So she has more to share with you and the world. And oh gosh, Alan's making me laugh. He goes, there's so many on the other side who want to write books with the people in the body, like he's writing with me. It's just making me laugh. He goes, they all want to be authors on the other side. He says, we're going to start a movement of and it's always happened that way anyway, but it's going to be more, he said, going to be more recognized, that people are co-writing with somebody in the spirit world. Well, if you take him to be kind of ordinary, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm writing with my dead mother or whoever.
Well, it's interesting because she was always very creative, very creative. And, she would tap into that. And, but then there was nothing created or manifested. And so, so I don't know, this is really great. This is interesting to hear.
All right.
This guidance.
We'll get going with that, and let us know how it goes for you, because I can see that book happening for you, and then it leads to something else, and then he says something else. So you see how our loved ones on the other side, they're still alive, and they'll still say, hey, I want to be involved, I want to do something. I can do something, I want to participate. whether it's, you know, to literally just be part of our life, and like Alan is part of my life, and write a book with me even, or even if he didn't write a book with me, that he may want to, like he does, I do readings with him, or I might do something else with him, or write a book, you know, like you're writing a book, or build a business, or do whatever. Or he says, or just be with us to comfort us and guide us. We really want people to understand, we said this before in other of our classes, that our loved ones in heaven are capable of miracles and magic, just like the angels are, okay? Because a lot of things that people give credit to the angels for doing, quite often it can be a loved one. Because Alan likes to say that we're all angels, both in a body and out of the body, that we have these abilities. So not to think that the angels are the only ones that can rescue people or can make things happen. We all do that. We can all do that. Okay, that is a complete misconception. That he understands why that's out there. Because he says, because humanity wasn't really ready to understand that we're all angels. You know, think about it. How many people could accept that if you told them, well, you're an angel? You know, most people would go, no, that's impossible, you know. But no, we're everything. So cool. So yeah, let us know about you. But Deborah, are you happen to be in our group?
I'm not, but I will be.
You better get on in there. Again, just Facebook. Our Facebook group is Supernatural Love and Life After Death. And anybody here is also welcome to friend me on Facebook if you want to. Pamela Johnson. You'll know you found me when you see my picture with Alan and me in the behind, like the bigger picture. And I write, and a lot of my posts on my personal page are set to public. Not all of them, but a lot of them about Alan are set to public. So you would know that you found me. Great. And so either, join us if you want to or can. We go live on the days that we don't do Zooms like this. We usually go live also and do kind of talks or have guest speakers. Sometimes the guest speakers are on a Zoom, sometimes they're on a live, you know, we kind of mix it up a bit. Okay, Pamela, so yeah, would love to see it.
Pamela, I just have to ask if Alan has anything else to say. I get the strong sense that my father, Ben, and my sister, Lori, are together and are really behind me. When I was 10, I had a very powerful near-death experience. And it was my father who was very, very supportive of that. But that was about it. And he too has passed. And I get the sense that he's very much a strong.
Well, yeah, Alan's showing me your father that with his huge angel wings. So your father is on the other side taking on that role of, well, let me check with Alan. Okay, yeah. So Alan, you may not know this, but from when he first started coming to me, he said that he was an archangel. And I said, what does that mean? How can you be an archangel? And a friend of mine who understood how this all works, she says, well, the archangel is a job. It's not an exalted being above all the other angels, because there's no hierarchy in heaven. There's only groups that are kind of divided in that sense based on their interests and abilities and what they wanted to do, what they wanted to work on. And the archangels are just a group of, let's just say, beings who want to help humanity embody their soul. So they help with soul and body healing and help to teach us how to be all that we are. And so Alan said that, you know, he when he returned to the other side, he stepped into his role as an archangel. And then he said that I was one too, but I had to stay here to anchor his energy. Now he's showing me back to your father that he also is an archangel. And the interesting thing to me is a lot of people who are angels or archangels don't necessarily when they're here, completely embody that, or they may not even completely accept the idea, which may sound weird. Like, okay, if you're an angel, how come you're not all into angels? He said some of them in our experience are actually rather skeptical about angels. So you really don't know based on how they are when they're in a body, like who they are on the other side, because it could be completely surprised. Just like we've said in other classes and events we've taught, that somebody who's a drug addict could very well be an ascended master who came into this life to teach compassion by having the struggles that they're having. So you can't really gauge it by just outward appearances, like how they're living their life. Okay, so he says your father is an archangel. Does that make sense to you? He's around you, guarding you. He's been guiding you from the minute he crossed over, is what Alan's showing me.
I feel
Does that make sense?
yes.
You feel that?
Yes.
He's got these big wings, like his wings are right there behind you.
Yeah.
Like nothing's gonna get through him.
I could see his
Really?
wings when I was a little girl. Yeah.
Oh, all right, there you go. Because that's the first thing I saw, like these huge wings, which to me, when I see these really ginormous wings, okay, we're not talking about, we're talking humongous wings, okay? That's usually the archangels. I know Alan has those wings too. He doesn't often show that. A few of my friends have seen them and it's huge. Like, but he doesn't, usually they're folded and people don't see them. He says he doesn't, tries not to show off, which is funny because my husband usually is a show off, but he says he takes his archangel role very seriously, unlike other things that he does. So I hope that helps. I'm so glad we could talk to you today.
Thank you, Pamela.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. He thanks you too. So, okay. So let me see here. Okay. All right. Somebody, I know there's somebody Alan was pointing to. So hold on, let me find you. Here, I think you're here. Oh, wait. Sorry, guys. I could have sworn. Hold on. Okay, sorry, Alan's like talking to me. Let me see if she's still here. I'm just opening up the gallery view. So I don't see your name in the chat, but for some reason I want to ask Danielle, did you want a reading? I don't know why, Alan, it seems to be zeroing in on you. Danielle? And if you don't want a reading, that's fine. But I'm just opening that up to you because for some reason he's pointing you out to me.
Sorry, I was having technical difficulties and couldn't unmute for a second there.
That's okay. Did you want a reading?
You know what? I would love one if there is somebody there that has something he wants to pass on to me, for sure.
Well, first, I'm feeling like there's two people with you. Hold on. I feel like they're both male, and I can't, to be honest with you, I can't really tell them apart. So does that make sense to you? Like two male energies.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
They both feel like family, like really close to you. And but they come in together and I can't seem to tell them apart. So can you tell me who they are?
Well, I would assume one is my husband, Chris, and I would
This is
assume
Allison.
the other would be my father, Wayne.
Okay, now you said that, and now I see them like arm around each other, almost like they're buddies or something. And okay, now Alan's saying, this is where Alan telling me, saying your husband is worried about you more than your father, and your father is telling him to just like be patient, like just wait, like it's okay, like it's okay. But your husband seems agitated about you and wants to really support you. Okay. And Alan says that he's going to help him make more contact with you. Is that what you want?
I do. So I can understand why Chris might be feeling that way. So our youngest was just this past week diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And so I was asking Chris, I could really, really use you right now, and I could really use some good advice from you and some support to help us go down this new journey with this new diagnosis.
Okay. Okay. Now, I have to say that when you said cerebral palsy, Alan right away said to me, he says, that's not it. Like that's they're wrong. Like that's not really what your son has. And he says, don't worry about it. It all gets sorted. Now your husband is agreeing, going, that's not right. Like they don't, that something is off with the diagnosis. But not to worry about it. Like, okay, it's kind of like they're gonna say that that's what it is and go down that road. And then at some point they're gonna go, oh, wait a minute, that's not what it is.
I'm not.
Oops.
That
I mean,
also,
okay. Does that make sense? Do you understand what we're talking about here? Because he's saying,
because
he's saying he doesn't have cerebral palsy. I mean, Alan is flatly saying he doesn't have that. Okay. And he's saying there really isn't anything that wrong with your son. You know, and they're both okay. Chris and Alan are kind of going, yeah, like don't worry about it. We'll sort it out. But he doesn't want you to get bent out of shape about it. And that's why your dad is going, it'll work out. Don't worry about it. Because kind of like your dad, his attitude is like, yeah, they'll figure out it's not they're wrong, right? Like they'll figure it out eventually because it'll be evident that they're wrong. Okay, but you knew that was off.
Right. Yeah, no, I can't tell you how much sense this makes.
That's why Alan wanted to talk to you. And also why your husband and your father want to talk to you. Because that's not true. So that you don't, get all upset about it. Because they're like upset for you. Like that you don't have to go through this.
Right. Okay. No, this is good. This is
so how did you know that was probably wrong?
What because it's a late diagnosis, and the doctor herself is like, signs are pointing this way, but I can't. She's like, I need to make this diagnosis just so that we can start rehab and treatment and stuff. But she said, like even there's some things that are making me question this. So it makes
okay.
sense.
Alan's getting really upset. He's reminding me of the time when our son was in first grade, and the school kept saying, "Oh, we think your son is ADD. You need to go see a psychologist. We're going to pay for it. Take them to get evaluated." I took him to be evaluated. I knew our son didn't have that. And the psychologist evaluated him. At the end of it, the doctor said, "I can't not tell you for sure whether your son has ADD or not, But I'm going to write on the report that he does so that you can more easily get medication if you decide you want to medicate your child. And right then I said, God, you guys don't know what the heck you're doing. Like, I'm out of here. And so I took our son out of school and homeschooled him for the rest of his life. We turned away from that because they just want to give you the diagnosis and
Right.
and go do something. Because otherwise you don't have a diagnosis to, hang on. What are they going to do? So yeah, so he says, so don't worry about it. It'll sort itself out. Okay. And your husband is really, well, both your husband and your dad, they're really behind you, and they'll let you know if something isn't right. So trust your instincts is what they're telling me, because they have the ability to kind of broadcast that, to let us know like yeah, something isn't right, or remind us of something, or like nudge us, like put an idea in our head. They're really good at that. Okay, so don't assume that an idea that pops in your head is just from you. It could be from them. To say, go check that, or that's not right, or don't forget this. Okay, there's so many ways that they communicate to us. So many ways, but certainly transmitting thoughts and emotion, feelings, all that, and the music that we talked about. So I hope that helped you.
It really, really did. Like, it makes so 110% makes sense. And they both,
Great.
my dad and my husband, know how anxious I get. So thank
Well,
you.
What
for-
mom wouldn't get anxious if she's told her child has cerebral palsy? I mean, you'd have to be, cold and shut down to not get upset about it. Nobody wants a diagnosis that is the voodoo curse that you want to reject, because even if it's quote true, you make it true by accepting the curse, by manifesting it. Okay, guys. So Alan is like, he's about to pull me off the screen with his hook, saying, "Okay, Pam, you're done." So I'm sorry we couldn't get to everyone. Of course, we couldn't get to everyone. We will do this again probably in another the week after. Like, we're kind of doing it every other week. We do go live in our Facebook group when we don't have a Zoom like we have today. And so next week we'll be going live. We usually go live in the group on Sundays at 1 p.m. Hawaii time. And that schedule might change a little bit, but right now it's Sundays. And if you're not in their group, like I said, join our group. It's free. We do something like this every week, and we do post in the group, share what we're up to in our group, just so you guys know. So because some of you are new to our group and you may not even know this completely, but I've been sharing all these things, like I said, all these posts from when Alan left, and it's almost like our group is like a blog. The reason I didn't write a regular blog, was Alan, this is my husband, he wanted an audience. He wanted to engage with people. And he also said he wanted to create a community. And you don't have a community if you just have a blog. You just don't. People maybe comment on your post and that's it. They don't interact with each other. But because we created a community, through that community, there are people who became friends, that found their soul family, if you will. And so friendships and connections were made that we both knew would be very important. But he also created the group to support me in my journey. And in our book, the group is going to feature very largely in the book because of that, because of everyone there who supported me and Alan and came to know Alan. There are many people who've been in the group from the beginning who they talk to Alan all the time. He's very much a part of their life. We have people in our group who have told other people about Alan, who their friends and family call on Alan. It's just too much. Okay, it just blows my mind when I hear these things. And I know that Alan working behind the scenes, just trying to help as many people as he can, because that's his soul mission. That's our soul mission together. So his goal with our book is to get it out to people who will just call on him. And when you call on him, okay, he wants you to let you know, when you call on Alan, you're calling on me automatically. That's why people have seen us show up, like in a hospital, show up doing healing. They see me and Alan. Sometimes it's just Alan, but he says wherever he goes, I go as well. I'm not always visible, but sometimes I am. And he says, I have to be part of it because I ground his energy into the earth plane. And if I wasn't here, he couldn't do everything that he could do. And once the book comes out and more people ask for his help or our help, the more powerful he'd become. This has been confirmed to me by other psychics who've communicated with Alan or linked into him. And they've said, yes, the more people who do reach out to Alan, the more his gifts like grow, and that he is different to the other archangels who don't have a loved one in a body who's their twin soul, who is also an archangel. He said that we're, to our knowledge, we may be the only ones. He's probably not, but he says we are probably the only ones who are writing a book and putting ourselves out there. So we'll be taking the heat for that, and we don't care. He says, because we don't care what people think. That's why we took the assignment. So that's what we're about, and we thank you so much for being on this Zoom call. We're going to again do it again in another. I don't know when the date is, but it'll likely be on a Saturday or maybe a Sunday. It's always on a weekend. So if you're in our group, you'll hear about it. If you don't want to be in the group, but you want to hear about it, just be on our mailing list. And if you just want to do that, then just go to our website, soulauthority.com. Soul as in S-O-U-L, right? S-O-U-L, soulauthority.com. But either way, then you get notified. Oh, also, if you're on our mailing list, you'll get a link to the Zoom replay. So you don't have to worry about not being in the group, because if you're in the group, the replay will be put in the group and you can watch it in there. If you're on our emailing list, you'll get the link to it. Okay, so again, thanks for being on the call. We love you guys. And if you guys want to unmute and say hi, goodbye, whatever, feel free. We kind of like when we do Zoom meetings to give people a chance to just say goodbye, at least if you want to. Hey, okay. Hey, Maria, did you unmute?
I did.
All right. Hey, Jill. Okay, Emily, Deborah.
Thank you.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for joining us for the
Aloha.
first
Thank
time.
you
Aloha.
so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for very
Welcome.
much.
Jack
Thank
and Patty. Hey, Patty, I'm so glad you're here. Marilyn, I know we talked today. I'm so glad we got a
Thank
chance
you.
to chat. Rory. Hi, Rory, Ed, Nikki, Jill, and did I get Cynthia, Jackie, Allie, and Marciana? I hope I got everybody.
Thank you
I think
and
I
love
did,
to
yeah.
everybody. Bye.
Yeah, love you guys. All right, till
Thank
next
you.
week when we go live. All right, happy Father's Day to all you dads. And Alan's one too, by the way. He says, happy Father's Day to me is what he's saying. Okay. All right. Bye, guys. Love
Bye,
you.
thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Love
Bye-bye.
to you. Thank you.
Lots of love.